Hey everybody, welcome back to Tenza Motorsports. We're going to be announcing the giveaway here in just a moment. Before we do that, I am really excited to get this Evil Energy stuff in the car. Now, I've done a video on it in the past. I'll have the link to that up here. I basically went through everything. I test fit a few things in the car. I got to run the pump, see if it was as loud as some of the other brand name ones. And I think this kit is actually nicer than the one I purchased for my wife's car in terms of how loud it is, because hers is really, really, really loud. So I'm going to be basically setting it up the exact same way in my car. And then this winter, when I go to, I'm going to be pulling the rear subframe at some point to do some reinforcements. Even though we're kind of done driving the cars for the winter, I do want to have this ready to go for E85 as soon as the tank gets here. I was going to wait for the fuel tank, but I want to get it done right now. So I'm going to get it all set up. We'll get the toggle switch running and everything like that. And at some point I will be dropping the rear end. I'll be dropping the fuel tank out of the car. And then we'll also be doing I'll be doing a Mason rear strut reinforcement bar thing that actually ties into the rear subframe. And then we're also going to be doing some rear end reinforcements. No, this car does not have it done yet. Yes, the car's got 400 horsepower, and we're going to go underneath there later on, and I'll show you everything that's going on underneath there when we go to do that video. So lots of content coming up this winter. Stay tuned. Even though the cars are kind of down, it's starting to get cold and snowy here. We do still have lots of build content, lots of things to install and review. Okay, to the giveaway. Shadow eDrive 4S. I do giveaways on our channel. All you have to be doing is following us on Instagram, Tenza_Motorsports. The winner was following us, and their username is E46 Aiden. The username right here. Congratulations. Hopefully that means that you've got an E46. I know some people, they'll make a username with the car they've got then, and then 2, 3, 4 years later they don't have that car. So hopefully they've got a compatible car that will work with this controller. Yeah, congratulations. If you want to be part of any future giveaway, just make sure you're following us, Tenza_Motorsports. Thanks again to Shadow for sponsoring this giveaway. Really happy with their stuff. I did a review, like I said, on this product. I'll have the link up here, and it was absolutely fantastic. So hopefully E46 Aiden enjoys it. So my race car right now runs on E91 or 93, depending on what I can get my hands on. I live in a small enough area where some of these fuel types are difficult to get a hold of. The E85 that we've been getting comes from one gas station. The next closest gas station that has that fuel is like 100 and something miles away. So I've got one place to get it from. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but right now the car's been running on 91. Rev Match has been doing all of the tuning for this car, and we do have some videos coming up. We did do a flame tune. I'll have the little video here. Very little right now, but he's going to tune it in, and then we'll be able to get some, some nice decent flames out of it. I'm pretty excited about that. It's mostly for show, but we'll be doing a video on it and talking a little bit more about that. But he is really excited about getting this car tuned for E85. Thanks to Evil Energy for their kit, we're going to be able to do that this winter. We should be seeing, I would like to dyno this car this next spring. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to dyno my wife's car. We just never got around to it. It was a little bit tight on budget this last year, but I'd like to dyno both the cars. This car with E85, I really be happy to see like 450. I think that's pretty safe because I got 400 on this car and the tune was not very good. When Rev Match went through it, he was like, oh my gosh, what the heck is this? So I'm really hoping that with his tune and then some E85, I think 450 is pretty safe. My wife's car, if I could see like mid-low threes, I'd be really happy on that too. This video is not a, hey, we're just gonna pop in here for 2 or 3 hours and get it done. Because I'm gonna have to do this a couple hours tonight and then a couple hours tomorrow night, and I'm not able to do this on a Saturday, so I'm just kind of doing it after work here and there. Running these fuel lines is pretty simple. You do unfortunately have to run a line all the way up and then a line all the way back. That's for your return. I do recommend buying these. These are like hose mounts. They come in several different sizes and styles, but you want to get yourself some of those because we're going to be running these underneath the car, and we do want to make sure they're secure. They're not hanging down. They're not touching the road. They're not getting touched by the exhaust, not getting loose or anything like that. And those will make sure that we get there. So yeah, let's get this car opened up. We'll start laying out roughly where I want these to run. Then one other thing is I'm going to be wiring up a toggle switch. I've got a relay here. You can get these super cheap as well. This is a 30, which actually might be, I'll look into it. This is just a universal fuse. So if I want to drop it to like a 10 or a 15 or whatever, I can do that. 30s might be a little bit big for this. I guess worst case scenario is that I put a 10 in here and it pops and I have to jump up to a, you know, a 15 or something like that. But you definitely want to have a fuse on the relay, and you definitely want to have a relay for this kind of stuff. You don't want to be wiring it directly, because if something were to happen, this is kind of protection in between your car's voltage and your fuel pump. So what I'm going to be doing is running constant positive over to the battery, and the negative is actually going to come from up front where my toggle switch is. And then I will also have a constant positive coming into here, which then goes to fuel pump. These two don't really matter. You can go either way, but one or the other. Because I'm being super lazy, look at what's already back here. So I still have speaker wire back here because I never fully gutted the car. Well, that runs all the way up front and back behind the toggle switch panel that I have. So what I'm going to be doing is just taking one of those. It's just a signal wire. These are thin wires. You wouldn't normally run power through these or anything like that, but I'm just running a signal ground to the relay. And all I'm doing with the relay is telling it to connect power. All right, so everything here looks like a big mess, and it almost is always like this when you're doing a project of this scale. One thing I'm gonna mention is these gaskets here. I always replace these right off the bat. These gaskets need to be rated for fuel, and then because I'm running E85, they need to be even more aggressive. These ones here tend to squeeze. So when you go to sandwich them in here, they'll squeeze out the sides. And then the other thing that they will do is that they can actually swell up with fuel and then push themselves out the sides. It's just my rule of thumb. First thing I do when I get any kit, doesn't matter who it's from, is I put some AC line gaskets in it. These right here are really cheap. You can find them at most auto parts stores. So here we are underneath the car. This is the driver's side. So this is basically the opposite side as the battery pan. So there's where your battery sits. Right here, I've got these lines coming through that vent. I'll show you guys that in just a moment. There was actually a stud here. And then there is another stud right here. I'll have these in the description. What's really cool about these is if you've got a stud like this and the one over here, you can just add a nut to them. We are going to be going up over the axle. So if you look right here, you can see there's some OEM lines, and they sit high enough up that they aren't actually touching anything. So the bottom of the body, I can put these in, and you know, putting a bend on it like that isn't going to hurt it. So I've got this ran. I don't have these permanently fitted. Again, it's been kind of difficult to lay some of this out because I don't have the fuel cell. So I can't drop my tank. I can't pull my charcoal canister. There's a bunch of stuff I can't do until I have the tank here, but I just want to get everything set up and ready to go. So let's go up above. I'll show you where this is, and I'll go show you where the lines are coming out for the regulator up in the engine bay. Here we are back in the trunk. I basically have everything ready to go over here. Cleaned everything. This is where the fuel lines are headed through that vent that I was talking about. You just cut one of these out. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way everything's going so far, and the fact that I didn't have to run fuel anything past any firewalls. But what I'm still not, I'm still not brave enough to do quite just yet is permanently mount these filters. So again, I would, and fuel pump. What I would really like to do, the fuel pump over here somewhere, I did get some rubber
isolator, so this will help the fuel pump not vibrate on the car as bad. You can pick up, these are actually, you see these are actually used. I work auto body, and so oftentimes you get parts from vehicles that have been wrecked, and that's all these are. I think they're like radiator support. They're designed so radiators don't get shaken while you're driving around, and it'll sit something like that. I've got positive and negative ready to go as soon as I've got the pump done. So I don't know how to fit all this. Let me walk through what we're doing with the fuel cell itself. So as you can see, I have done a flat floor in the back of this car. This used to have a spare tire well, and now it is flat. I did actually build bars that run across. Those bars come up like this. I believe they actually come up to the top here, but they might just come up like this, and I'm eventually gonna be welding. Right now I've got them riveted in. I did this back when I didn't know how to weld, didn't have a welder. At some point I'm gonna be removing those rivets and actually welding this. I'm gonna actually be putting the fuel cell in here on top of those bars, but I need to have the fuel cell in here so I know where the bars go. I need to have the gas tank out of the car so I can finish running these through the middle of the car, because right now they're just draped underneath the car and then ran up to the engine bay, and we'll go up front and talk about where they're coming out. As soon as we get the fuel cell, I put those bars in here. Once those bars are in here, then I can know, okay, I can put one filter here, and then I can put the fuel pump there, and then I'll find a place over here. Or maybe this filter needs to sit on this side. But yeah, everything's ready to go. As soon as I put on positive and negative, I can flick a toggle switch, that'll turn on. So let's go up front. I'll show what the front of the car looks like, and we'll wrap this video up. I'm just really excited for the fuel cell. So let's go up front. I'll show how we routed that. My wife's car, the regulator sits right here. What I did was I ran the fuel line on one side of the car. I did not hop back and forth. I did not want to get anywhere near the exhaust or any rotational parts. This would include your drive shaft, transmission, anything like that. So as soon as I came up to past the transmission where the output shaft is, I actually came up over the engine bay, so you can't see, but just down behind there. And then there are two lines right here. Both of them need to run to about right here, because the regulator will sit there. And then from the regulator, one of these lines heads back, so one's going to it and one's going back to the fuel cell, and then I'll have a line from here back over to the fuel rail, which is just behind this cover. Sorry, it's kind of a pain to see back in here, but yeah, so that's where the lines are. And then the other thing is that we'll put some heat wrap around them, so something similar to O2 sensor wires that I've got here. Let's go over to my wife's car real quick. We'll look at hers, and then we'll wrap this video up. So this is my wife's car. As you can see here, we have a line into the regulator, and then this line, I believe this one goes back to the fuel cell. This one runs up and around to the fuel rail. These have been wrapped. They're up real nice and high. They're zip tied. And even though, again, they are close to the exhaust manifold, they're not close enough for it to get anywhere near the temperatures that would make me nervous. I've actually put my hand down in here before and just held this, and it's plenty cool enough that you can actually touch it. We're really happy with the way that this one has turned out, and we're excited to get the other car set up in a very similar fashion. So thanks everybody so much for watching. This is a part 2 out of basically a part 3. I will be uploading when we finally get the fuel cell in here and I permanently mount those, and then we're able to drop the tank. That's where we're sitting right now. Thanks everybody so much for watching. And one more time, congratulations to the giveaway winner. Really excited that we get to do these kind of things. There are more coming up on the channel. I have some fun ones, some homemade ones that, you know, are actually part of cars you've seen on the channel, and we're excited to do those ones as well. So stay tuned. Tenza_motorsports on Instagram. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and we will see everybody in the next video.
Bam!